Hey everyone, I'm Jonathan Shaw, creator of the DTO system and founder of the DTO Academy. And in this video, I'm going to share with you the three things that cause all of our problems. Yes, I did say all of our problems. So whether it's your health issue, whether it's mental health or physical health, chronic pain, serious illness and disease, or whether it's relationship issues, or money blocks, or business blocks, or something wrong with your boss, or a problem with your children or your family members, or whether it's just feeling overwhelmed in life or out of control in life, or you having anger issues or addictions or phobias, whatever it is, they're all caused by the same three things. And once you understand these three things, you can start doing something about it. But the problem is that we all blame other things for why we have our problems. And if you're doing that, you're never going to solve it. So, what do I mean? A lot of people, what they do is they blame something outside of them. They blame their boss, they blame their partner, they'll blame the kids, they'll blame life or the government. We always blame something for why we have a problem. And that's not always our fault. Sometimes we're told it's that thing, and so that we then believe it. For instance, with our health, we might be told, oh, it's our age. Oh, it's the chemicals in your brain. Oh, it's your DNA. We're told, oh, it's hereditary. We're told these things and then we believe it. The problem is with believing these things, it keeps us stuck. It keeps us in a victim mentality and it keeps us in a suffering mentality. And so we can't solve it when we're in that mentality. When we're in that mindset and we believe that and we think that way, we cannot solve it. In fact, we don't even look to solve the problem because we believe nothing can be done. One of my clients had migraines and shoulder pain, and she was told by her doctor it was her age. Her physio told her nothing could be done. And then she went and looked up on Google and thought it was her posture causing the problem. So she was stuck. She was left in a suffering mentality, a victim mentality because she couldn't solve it. And then she was left in a fear mentality because she thought she was going to live with it the rest of her life. It actually took me 5 weeks to resolve her pain, and it all vanished, and it had nothing to do with those things. So if you're buying into something, if you're blaming something for why you have a problem, then you're going to be stuck with it. And none of those things that we get told, none of the answers or the root causes or what they say cause our problems are the actual cause of our problems. Because if it's not one of the three things I'm going to mention in a minute, it's not a root cause of your problem. Now, some people are going to struggle to get their heads around that because that's new information. Some people will be like, yes, I get it, I understand. Doesn't matter where you are. If you want to solve your problem, if you actually want to get rid of it now and you don't want it any longer, then listen to what I'm about to say next because this is the key. If you're quite happy maintaining your problem, being ill, being stuck, suffering, then this information is probably not for you. Switch off now. But if you do want to resolve it, these are the three things you need to know. So, number one, memories and traumas. Our past memories and traumas are a big key. Now, maybe you've heard this before, maybe you haven't, maybe you partially heard it, but I'm going to go into more detail in another video about exactly how they affect us. But let me give you an example. A negative memory can be something as small as being told off at school for not doing your homework, and it can be as big as having a grief when you're a child, losing someone you love, or your parents splitting up. That's negative memories, and they get lodged in our brain. They get stored in our unconscious, and from those we develop belief systems and we develop triggers and behaviors, and that then affects the way we react in situations today. Now, if you have a trauma when you're a child, that's even worse. So, if you have a trauma like abuse or physical abuse, mental abuse, or even worse, sexual abuse, if you have really bad grief or lots of bullying at school or anything that's a very severe trauma, then that can create more problems because now the trauma's playing in your mind. It's more severe. So, the emotional response is stronger, the beliefs become stronger, and your beliefs about yourself and the world then affect how you interact with it. So the first thing is our negative memories and traumas. Then from that, we have triggers. Now, triggers are what's being triggered around us in our present day. Now, the trigger comes from the memory or the trauma, but it gets triggered in our current environment. So let me give you an example. So let's say your mum and dad get divorced when you're 5, and you have a memory of that. You have a memory of them arguing in the kitchen. And later on, when you see a couple arguing on the TV show, that's a trigger So you've got the memory of them arguing and how it made you feel, and that's lodged in your brain somewhere and in your body. But then you could be sitting down today, you could be 30, 40 years old, watching a TV show, and as soon as you see a couple arguing, that could trigger you back to that memory in your unconscious mind. And that will create that response again if you haven't switched it off, if you haven't healed that past memory. Now, obviously, that's a minor example. I'll give you a severe example. So, someone who's been abused, what they will do is, depending on how they responded, they may have an image or a sound of the abuse. They may still feel it happening to them. So that when they see abuse on the TV, in a movie or a TV show, or they hear it on the news, that may trigger their own response about their own abuse. Or when they get into another relationship, that may trigger their response about their abuse in that relationship. So hopefully you can start to see how the memory gets triggered off in the current environment. Now I'm going to go into each one in a separate video to explain in more detail, but that's basically how that happens. It starts with a memory and trauma, then it becomes a trigger in your current world, and then when we get triggered, we then behave in a certain way. So now our behavior kicks in. So for instance, with the example we gave, let's say your parents get divorced, you remember that, you remember how it made you feel, you remember them shouting, you hear the trigger of them, someone arguing on the TV or seeing the couple separate, your behavior might be to burst into tears and want to cry. If you're like highly emotional about what happened, your behavior might be to shut down in that moment with your partner without realizing it. You might see that, and as soon as your partner tries to connect with you, you might just suddenly shut down and go inwards. A lot of men, when they have emotional shock, they go inside themselves and they shut down. Um, or your behavior could be to get really angry at the shout at the TV and scream, "Oh my God, I can't believe they're doing that," without realizing you're being triggered back to your past. So you can behave differently based on the trigger, based on your response from the past. Now, if we're talking in the case of abuse, if you've been abused as a child and then you get triggered, your behavior could be to want to get away from watching that. Could be switch the TV, I can't cope with it, and just want to just distance yourself. Or it could cause you to behave that you don't want to go out. You don't want to be around people. You don't want to be in the world anymore. You want to stay away to keep yourself safe. Or might want to stay away from the type of person who abuse you. So as a man, you might think men are dangerous, want to stay away from them. So you keep yourself away from men or women, depending on who it was. So it causes to behave in lots of different ways. Now, I've given you two examples, one minor and one quite extreme. And in the videos, when I go into more detail, I'll give you some more examples so you can see how it affects your life. You can see how it can be affecting your life now, today, when you're being triggered by these things. And then you behave in a certain way. But basically, in a nutshell, that's how it works. We have a memory and a trauma. We have a trigger that triggers it off in our current day, and then we have a behavior, and then we behave a certain way, and we're not always aware of this. Those are the three things that cause all of our problems, whether it's our health issues, or relationship issues, or money blocks, or business blocks, whatever it is. Those three things are the cause of all of our problems. And I know because in my last 20 years' experience of working with people, when I switch off the negative traumas or memories, I find the triggers and I find the behaviors and switch them off, the situation resolves itself. Once they're switched off and they're gone, the situation resolves, the person goes back to being who they really are again, and life gets better for them. So, and that's how I work with my life. If there's something wrong with my life, I find the memory, the trauma, find the trigger, find the behavior, switch them off, and things start to resolve. Those are the three things that cause all of our problems. In the next few videos, I'm going to go into more detail about each one so you understand. If you have any questions about that, or you just comment below. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, click that bell for notifications. If you're on Facebook, like, share the video as much as possible, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. If you want help, then give me a shout. You can reach out to me, Jonathan@dtosystem.com. And if you want to learn DTO yourself, you can now sign up for the DTO Academy, where you can sign up for free and get access to a free 7-day introductory training on the DTO system and start learning to switch off your own negative memories so you can start healing your life today. Until next video, stay healthy, stay happy, keep smiling. I'll speak to you real soon.